Hallo und herzlich willkommen, liebe Moto-Fans, zu einer weiteren Ausgabe vom MotUlator. Auch heute zeigen wir euch wieder ein Panel von der Grayskull Convention 2018 und zwar genauer genommen um das zweite Panel, das Alex Hawkey auf der Convention gehalten hat. Und da ging es dann um eine mögliche Season 3 der Filmation, He-Man und She-Ra Cartoons. Ja, er geht darauf ein, was wäre möglich gewesen. Was hätten wir sehen können? Was für Geschichten wären gekommen? Und so weiter und so fort. Und genau über diese Themen spricht Alex Hawkey in seinem gleich kommenden Panel. Ja, und da bleibt mir nur noch, euch für die nächsten 30 Minuten viel Spaß beim Zusehen zu wünschen.
I'm a big fan of fan fiction as well. I'm sure we all have our own ideas of what could become of the He-Man and She-Ra universe. So this is a little panel that I've called Fantasy, all around. It should be Fantasy Filmation Season 3. So the idea is that He-Man and She-Ra didn't finish after 2 seasons. What would have happened in Season 3? I'm thinking about what James has just done with Return of Faker, which is, essentially our first new episode in how many years? 30, 33? When did she finish? 87, 6? So 32 years. It's pretty exciting. It got me thinking, what could we create as Season 3? So it's just a bit of fun, really. It does require a little bit of interactivity. So I'm going to need you to get involved, because otherwise I'm just going to read these premises to you, and that's a much short panel. So I suppose time to be a little bit creative and share your thoughts. I know I've had loads and loads of thoughts over the years, my own fan fiction of what could have happened in, beyond She-Ra's 93rd episode. But these were some premises that were approved, but never actually made it to the screen. You might be familiar with some of them. The Heart of Dark Hope is quite a well-known She-Ra one. I've had to squish it down a little bit because it's actually a really, really long premise. And these are just some that I thought were quite sort of unique takes on episodes that would have been quite interesting to see. So should we run through those? We might as well, rather than people just reading them. So some He-Man ones. To teach a prince, worried about their son's continued irresponsibility, the king and the queen send Prince Adam to a special sorcerer who's said to work wonders with such children. Along with other errant heirs from the universe, the sorcerer tries to make Adam more kingly. Skeletor seizes the opportunity to try and kidnap the heirs to use as pawns against their powerful parents. I thought that would be quite interesting because it sort of expands the universe as well. You've got potential for lots more, not a lot more royalty, more kings and queens, and obviously, Skeletor's expecting all the princes and princesses to rebel, but little does he know that actually Adam's probably going to turn into He-Man and save the day. So I thought that was quite nice. The Stardust Spirit, this was a really early She-Ra one, actually, and it reminds me a little bit of the Ladybug book, Spirit is Kidnapped. People know that one? Thanks to Bo's irresponsibility, Spirit's kidnapped by horse thieves who are in turn captured by horsemen. Collecting horses for Hordak, Bo tries to get Spirit back and winds up captured by Catra, who's overseeing the horse roundup. She-Ra and Madame Raz go to the Horde cavalry camp to free Bo and Spirit. They also free all the other horses in the bargain. Pretty straightforward, but Spirit as a character didn't get a huge amount of airtime in the series, so it's quite nice to give him a little bit of exposure, I suppose. A little bit like For Want of a Horse there. Working vacation, a weekend vacation for Prince Adam and Tina on the Isle of Mirth turns into a disaster when the island's wicked magistrate transforms the inhabitants into ferocious werewolves. I thought that was just a really nice, unexpected twist to a holiday. Last thing you expect to happen is suddenly just expect, the locals to be these, rabid werewolves. I thought that could be quite a fun, sort of maybe scary episode. The Heart of Dark Hope. This was the big She-Ra one that I wish had been. Shadow Weaver uses her vile magic to create a Nightwalker, a small mystical hunter. The Nightwalker finds Light Hope at the Crystal Castle. Dark Hope was the original name for Light Hope, in case you weren't aware of that. I don't quite know why, it doesn't have the same ring to it. But steals away his power. They venture into Light Hope's strange world and find the Nightwalker imbued with his power. She-Ra, He-Man and the Sorceress fight a pitched battle against the Nightwalker and combine their powers to defeat it. This, for me, has the makings of the best episode ever. I don't know about you, but, you know, you've got... I imagine Horde can be in there somewhere as well. Shadow Weaver, She-Ra, He-Man, Sorceress, you know, Light Hope. Obviously, the Horde never found the Crystal Castle set, but how are they going to deal with that angle? And I think, you know, a great big battle. If you imagine the environment in the Stone and the Sword episode, a great big battle in that, like, underworld sort of fire pit. That, you know, why did that not get made? That could have been instant classic. I've got a few more. There's one about a poltergeist invading the Palace of Eternia, and it turned out it was a distant relative of the spirit of Grayskull. Fountain of Youth was where some of the heroes in He-Man took a sip from this mystical fountain and they became children again. I thought that would be quite a nice opportunity to use some of the model footage of, you know, Prince Adam as a kid, Cringer as a little kitten, and who else was it? Teela. Oh, of course, we've got Teela as a teenager as well. We've got that footage. What else we got? Oh, the Silver Knight. This sounds like quite an interesting one because they put a little twist on quite a sort of a told tale, I suppose. In that He-Man challenges by this mysterious knight, towering warrior working for Skeletor. Turns out that the Silver Knight is the strongest woman in the universe. It's obviously predated She-Ra. And she may be too powerful for He-Man to handle. So thinking about an audience in the 80s seeing this massive, great, towering knight, probably just assume, oh, that's a guy. Suddenly, you know, take the helmet off and then he's got a Brienne of Tarth-like warrior. You know, and I thought that was quite a nice twist on. I like the Red Knight, you know, quite a nice twist on the tale. Some other She-Ra ones. These were all Robert Lamb's, actually, and none of them had titles. They were literally what they call story springboards, and the idea would be that they get approved and they then get fleshed out. Never got that far, but these are my three favourite ones from those. So while visiting Froster, Bo falls into a deep crevice. She-Ra rescues him and they discover the frozen form of the first one. So for me, like the episodes of She-Ra that delved into Etheria's history, they were so few and far between. You've got things like the Crown of Knowledge, a little bit of treasure of the first ones, and I just think that Etheria's history is so rich. We only ever got hints, you know, of the first ones and King Jared and, you know, the backstory of the planet. That something like this could be really interesting to sort of unlock some of those secrets. And what happens with that first one? You know, is it literally just a history lesson, or is it like an evil first one? You know, where would you go with that? I think that's quite curious. The one underneath is an air battle episode with Stratos, who obviously was never in She-Ra, so that was interesting. And he takes on Voltak in an air attack. So you've got Stratos, who's never in She-Ra, and then Voltak, who is rarely seen. That's quite an interesting battle. And the rebellion trying to work out, you know, who's sort of spying on them, how they know their every move. And then this one at the bottom, a young boy joins up with the equivalent of the Horde scouts and finds that he gets more than he bargained for. His sister, meanwhile, throws her sympathies to the rebels and through them spreads to her brother. So this made me think a bit of book burning. The episode in the schools where they're burning the books, they're trying to stop the teacher from teaching history and, you know, telling the kids the truth. And if you look at Etheria like our world, with the Horde being the leader of the world, it kind of stands to reason that you have young recruits, you know, training to be Horde soldiers or, you know, the Horde soldiers of the future. So I thought this was quite interesting from a young person's point of view as well. You know, if you're sort of 7, 8, 9 years old and you're watching, you know, this series and you actually see someone reflected back your own age doing the scouts, it's potentially quite dark as well. But I think that only makes the world bigger. And for me, more interesting, you know, because it's real. It feels more tangible. And also, I think there was another line on that, I haven't typed it, that said possibility for crossover. So they may have been thinking that, oh, we can reflect the relationship between He-Man and She-Ra in these two kids as well. So those are some really nice premises. I'm sure more will come to light in the future. But before they do, and this comes onto us and our own ideas for fan fiction, I'd like to know from you guys what you think season 3 could have become. So for He-Man or for She-Ra. So thinking about He-Man, for example, She-Ra was never in He-Man episodes. But by episode 131, would she come over to Eternia? You know, she only ever did the Christmas special, and I was always a bit miffed that she never came over, and he always came over to Etheria to help out. But what would those episodes look like? You know, He-Man and She-Ra against Skeletor and Eternia sounds kind of fun. Also, thinking about what toys came out that never made it. You know, She-Ra season 2 is full of lots of the new characters. You know, you've got Peekaboo, Spinnerella, Natossa, Flutterina, Entraptors in it, but then you've also got a lot of the Masters of the Universe characters coming through. You've got the dinosaurs are in, Dinosaurs on the Hive. Snoutspout comes back. So where would those characters be integrated into the world? What guest characters would you like to see return, and how would you bring them in? Do people know about the Silaxian Wars? A few people probably do, yeah. I'll summarise quickly. So Huntara is obviously one of the big fan favourite characters, and she's got her own episode in season 1. Season 2 brought back a lot of fan favourite characters, so General Sunder came back, Octavia came back, Inspector Darkly came back. And I think a lot of people were wondering, well, what about Huntara after this great big, drum roll of an entrance and having an episode named after her? Why didn't she come back in season 2? She was planned to come back. And the Silaxian Wars was meant to be her sequel, and they got so far as to actually storyboarding this episode. And if you ever get the BCI DVDs, the storyboards for the Silaxian Wars are on, I think it's season 2? Yeah, I think it's season 2. Because it would have been, it actually had the production number of 78, which is when Wishbone was last bloomed, which makes sense that they actually put another episode in place. The talk is that it was going to be the most violent episode Filmation had ever done. Some of the storyboards of Huntara, she's got her swords like this, and she's dripping with sweat, and she's got this really ferocious look on her face. And the premise was, it's a bit unclear what they're doing, but it's basically Horde Prime against the whole of Silax. So he sees them as an intergalactic threat after Huntara has come along and shown herself to be a force to be reckoned with. And Horde Prime is like, no more. Silaxians have got a secret power that he wants as well. So we meet, I think we meet her husband or her brother, I can't remember, one of the two, and a few other characters, and it's this great all-out war between Silaxians, She-Ra, and loads of stock footage of Horde troopers and tanks. But it was meant to be an all-out war, so it's a shame they shelved it. I think it would have been quite a good episode. So that's the guest characters. What other sort of storylines would you give to existing characters, given what we know about their backstories and personalities? So for me, someone like Glimmer, I think was criminally underwritten. Suddenly she's the leader of this rebellion at the start. Adora comes in, and then suddenly she's just a princess. And she's just a princess for like another 88 episodes. She has a bit of a problem with Adora and Glimmer come home, and they fall out a little bit in small problems. But I reckon there was so much there for that relationship that I don't think Glimmer wanted to be a princess. She wanted to fight. She wanted to save her planet. And suddenly Adora's come in and gets a really, really easy ride. How would that make her feel? I reckon there's kind of an untapped, lots of untapped potential for that. Filmation's tone as well. So obviously, the Filmation series was for kids, but it had its mature moments as well. Think about the problem with power. That's usually sort of considered as the most adult one. But nobody died. We thought that He-Man killed a man, and that's what made it such a brilliant episode. But no one actually died. So there were no kind of blood or guts. I don't think it would go anywhere too gritty, shall we say. Also things surprising. Things like the Silver Knight, we just looked at that premise. How could you kind of surprise the audience by flipping something, putting a new twist on an old tale. So this is the big experiment, and this is now, is it going to work? What kind of ideas have we got? I can talk about mine, but I'm curious to think what you guys, with if you write fan fiction, if you just kind of imagine stuff, how you would have liked season 3 to look. For He-Man or for She-Ra, or even for like a big one in general. Is anyone brave enough to say, hey, I think this is...
I would just like to see someone switch sides. She-Ra's bunch of princesses. One of her people might be for future in the horde. Or otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Who would you go with?
I have no real idea about that.
I think there's potential there for Glimmer. When you look at Glimmer's character,
maybe
she's
who's not as happy with the role they got or development.
Yeah.
Or try to save the people by this deception. Because it would not work like that.
When you look at an episode like Glimmer Come Home, she's probably the most corruptible of the female characters, the female heroes. Seahawk obviously went sort of the other way, didn't he? He was a baddie, but he wasn't really a baddie, and then became a good.
He was a rogue.
So he was a rogue. Yeah, exactly. What about the Horde? What do you think of could any of them become heroes? Have they got any kind of heroic streaks? Are any of them redeemable?
Maybe Entraptor?
I mean, they didn't explore Entraptor enough, really. She got two big episodes and then 2 cameos. I think she was a bit wasted, really. We know nothing about her. Yeah.
Or something like Redemption for Shadow Weaver, turning back to her origins.
Yeah, she's known goodness, hasn't she? So she could change her ways. I wonder what that could look like. Yeah.
Well, and as a subject, I was wondering about Froster, because I think the person is very undeveloped. I mean, she has the Ice Palace in the north, but I think there would be a lot of material to see what we could do about this frozen wasteland. The combination with the Horde or with the Great Rebellion. And I think to remember that they were developing some figures or action figures for this line, for Froster's sister and Froster's I don't know. So just several persons who could be added to this kind of Carthel Chill and North problem.
Yeah. No,
so it would be interesting to see another direction of this person with this character.
And more of Etheria as well. What's it like up there? We have 1 episode out of 93. Surely if you were up there that much, would you feel isolated? How's that going to make you respond to the war that's sort of going on there? I think, and you're right, there was Wave 2 was originally, I think it was just discussed. It was going to be purely Froster's people. That's too much for me, I think. But she had a cat, she had a sister, there was a volcano villainess called Volcana. Actually, there was another Robert Lamb story that was shelved called Amber Waves of Flame. And this villain, Volcana, went through lots of different changes. And first she was a villain called Amber, and then she was Volcana, and then they brought Amber back, and then Amber was going to be like a heroic equivalent to Volcana, but all in Froster's world. I don't know if they were going to do Castle Chill as well, but quite possibly. So I think that's really, really untapped. Maybe Froster could help the Horde. Could she? I don't know. That's an interesting episode. Yeah. What would it take? What would it take for her to, compromise her morals? What's her moral code about? Does she just want to protect her kingdom, or is there more to it than that? It's interesting. Anybody else have any other kind of suggestions how you saw maybe He-Man's, season 3 becoming? Yeah.
Or maybe we could add double trouble, because I think she had a toy but never had an appearance in the series.
Yeah,
Am I right?
never in it, that's right.
And perhaps you could try to find out does she have conflicts in her mind, whether to be good or evil, or is she just a spy?
Yeah.
This would be interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Or where does she come from at all?
Yeah.
Where does she live?
I'm trying to remember what it was. If it was in the series Bible or something else, she was
Princess, cousin of Glimmer.
Yeah. From a kingdom called Greenglade.
Okay,
But
I
again,
didn't know
you know, we don't know much about it. It wasn't explored about. It's not canon. It's not considered canon anyway.
She doesn't have the typical bride moon clothes art
She
style.
looks like a knight, actually, doesn't
Yes.
she? So yeah, could she have some sort of, I don't know, fighting background? It's maybe, you know, a bit too much for She-Ra's world, maybe the Filmation world anyway. But yeah, given that she was never in the series, I think she was in maybe one mini comic and maybe a book.
Yes.
I never really liked the name Double Trouble, I have to say. And I mean, like, you know, He-Man and She-Ra's full of like gimmicks, but it's almost like a gimmick too far. But I quite liked her. I don't know, what was she called in Germany? Because I know in France she was Dublia or Dublia.
No, it's double trouble.
Was she Double Trouble? Okay. Just thinking about the European car backs, and I quite like Dublia or Dublia. It's like, you know, double agent name, but in the, you know, Ethereum's version of a double agent. But yeah, so there could certainly be a lot of trust issues with a character like that, because you never know where you stand with them. You know, is she a spy for the Horde? Is she a spy for the Rebellion? You know, she could just end up being like a really lone wolf. But yeah, a really interesting character to explore. Anybody else? Does anybody write here? No? We need some of the audio play, guys. So, okay, what about an ending? An ending to He-Man or an ending to She-Ra? I think we were speaking about it a minute ago, weren't we? You know, was an ending episode planned for She-Ra? It wasn't, because they wrapped things up very, very quickly. Season 2 is a bit of a mystery to me, in that there's a lot. Larry DiTillio was lost because he finished at the end of season 1. I think that was a real shame, because he just knew Etheria like pretty much nobody else. Robert Lamb didn't contribute either, and there were a lot of freelance writers who just wrote, you know, 1 or 2 episodes, and they're not the strongest episodes. I'm putting it lightly. Check the book if you want to see my reviews. So I think Filmation was, I don't know, perhaps, you know, it was late in the day, maybe under a bit of pressure, struggling a little bit. What would people have liked to have seen from like a last She-Ra episode, like a, you know, a final proper farewell swan song for She-Ra?
The only thing I could imagine is that all people of Etheria really doing the rebellion against the Horde.
Yeah, it's going to take something big, isn't it?
Yes.
You know,
It has to be a
like
big,
the army
a
and
big battle at the fight zone.
with everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. And the Horde have got like so many different bases as well, haven't they? You've got like, you know, Octopus Cove, Scorpion Hill, and all these different places where the Horde, you know, reside. You'd almost need to attack all of those. So you can't imagine like a Secret of the Sword, like another 5-parter.
Just want to say, just some episodes where parts of the country are taken back by the Great Rebellion, and then kingdoms unite against Horde
Yeah.
in the final episode.
Maybe the big ones, maybe a Mysticores, you know, Kingdom of Snow, Bright Moon, obviously, the big powers.
Yes.
It'd have to be magical,
And
wouldn't it?
a magical fight, but finally with people taking over.
And actually, maybe that's a good opportunity for Shadow Weaver to change her ways. You know, maybe, you know, maybe maybe she sabotages something. Yeah, that'd be interesting. What then happens to the Horde? Obviously, like New Adventures, we got a final episode, didn't we? I think they left it sort of semi-open because they planned to, you know, go back to Eternia in season 2, and obviously that didn't happen. I don't know. I quite like the end of New Adventures because they tied it up. It was all nicely done, and I like the relationship of Skeletor and Critter as well. But with they were kind of so tiny compared to the size of the horde, weren't they? So
Well, the downfall of the Horde we're talking about would allow Adora to return to Eternia or to return to the star or to go to the stars with He-Man. So they could develop this structure,
yeah.
these ideas.
Do you think she'd want to? After she's lived her whole life on Etheria and had her friends there, so that'd probably be a bit of torment for her, maybe. Do I leave my friends? It's like in Battle for Brightmoon. Do I leave my friends and go home, or do I help them fight with this planet? Well, now that we've got rid of the Horde, where does that leave us? I think it's quite an interesting dilemma. But yeah, I wish there were more. Certainly.
She was a figure or a hero of war, and maybe it would be better for the healing after without it.
Yeah, maybe. She's not a native Etherian, is she? So, if the Etherians want to take back their planet, does that mean they don't need She-Ra? So, yeah, it brings up a lot of questions, I suppose. What about He-Man? Can we see an ending between He-Man and Skeletor on Eternia? Ever? It's trickier, isn't it? Yeah, because it doesn't have the same gravitas. There isn't the same urgency that there is to rid Eternia of Skeletor as there is to rid Etheria of the Horde. Maybe Skeletor is just everlasting, and then Skeleton comes along. Hopefully not. Not a fan of Skeleton, just in case you I don't know. Maybe they'd lock him up and that would be that. And then He-Man would go off to Prime.
I would like to see Tila finding out that Prince Adam is He-Man and make it more episodes.
Those like big reveals would be really good for me. What about Tila finding out about Sorceress being a mum? That'd be quite a big one.
Be a good conclusion to Tila's quest.
Yeah. What about the Sorceress passing over the mantle to Tila? I can't see Filmation going on to the Sorceress ever. She did a bit in Tila's Triumph. That was a pretty good episode. You're familiar with that one? She puts the Sorceress in cloak on, and yeah, Linda Gary was just such a versatile voice actress. In that episode, you can hear like hints of the Sorceress in her Tila voice. She played the Sorceress as well. She's very great on the screen.
Yeah, I think Tila is too much of a warrior character, not so much a magician or a wise person. I can't imagine her being the new sorceress.
She wouldn't
She's
sit still.
destined to someday, but she's destined to be the next sorceress.
Yeah, I think that's.
How about fighting that destiny or rebelling against it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I can't imagine her sitting still. I think she would want to be out there fighting. And then you've got this clash between your destiny, or your bloodline destiny, as it were, and
Like
who you
Eva
become
Aquaman.
first. Yeah, that could be interesting.
Royal rebel.
Yeah. And how's she going to feel when She-Ra's back over as well? There was a plan for Mike Young Productions when they brought She-Ra in that Tila was going to become the sorceress. And actually, I think with all those ingredients in the pot, that's quite a nice sort of way to do it. Not to say that you can't have two strong, female leads, because that would be interesting as well. But yeah, I think it could feel a little bit crowded because She-Ra's such a strong presence in herself. They would want to, really drum roll that. Yeah, what do people think about the Mike Young Productions? That stopped really suddenly, didn't it? There was no end. Yeah. I said it was going to be an experiment. We can talk amongst ourselves about our own kind of fan fiction and fan ideas, and a lot of people are customizers or do fan art and stuff. I think we've all got our own interpretation for things and where we'd like to see things go, and maybe we can kind of carry on that conversation in a non-panel way, if people know.
Yeah.
I'd be interested. So yeah, but yeah, thank you for bearing with my experiment. It's interesting, and I think we're coming back later for Beat the Geek as well, which is going to be fun. So yeah, and I don't know how that's going to work.
Ja, liebe Moto-Fans, auch das war es diesmal wieder mit dem MotUlator für heute. Wir melden uns in den nächsten Tagen dann wieder mit einer weiteren Sendung und dann wahrscheinlich auch wieder ein Panel von der Grayskull Convention 2018. Ja, wenn euch das Video hier gefallen hat, dann würde es uns freuen, wenn ihr dem Ganzen noch einen Daumen nach oben gebt. Den Kanal am besten dann gleich mit abonniert und auch die kleine Glocke natürlich aktivieren, denn dann werdet ihr immer darüber informiert, wenn wir ein neues Video hochgeladen haben. In diesem Sinne bleibt mir dann nur noch zu sagen, tschüss, bis dann und gute Reise.